Something that I'd hear a lot when covering the My Little Pony jar guy was, wow, that's a lot of dedication to fill that jar up. Even after you got tired of the joke, just out of sense of duty, because you made a promise to 4chan. You know, to slog through that, you gotta be shooting powder. Well, if you think the My Little Pony jar guy was committed to the bit, wait until you hear about the guy that went for close to a decade. A 4chan user who is considered by many to be the progenitor of every such project. A man who had his own holiday. This is the story of Jizzus Christ. Do you like my watch? I got it from today's sponsor, Thorum. Thorum is a husband and wife owned company based out of Tampa that's been making unique minimalist rings since 2012. They're made out of all kinds of unique materials like meteorite, whiskey barrel, ironwood, dinosaur bone, ethical diamond simulants, World War II rifle stocks, titanium and tungsten carbide, Damascus steel, and countless others. And they also offer a line of watches. Each Thorum watch is outfitted with EU mechanical movement, which means it needs no batteries ever. The one they sent me is the Meteorite watch, which contains a half-billion-year-old Gibeon meteorite piece. Every single purchase also includes a free silicone activity band, an American walnut wood ring box. They also have free worldwide shipping and a lifetime guarantee. Whether you need a wedding ring, an anniversary ring, a ring that just looks awesome, or a watch, head over to thorum.com and use code WANG. You'll get 20% off a truly unique ring or watch. There's a lot of holidays that people like to celebrate this time of year. As I'm recording this, we're in the middle of Hanukkah, and of course you got Christmas and Festivus. But then on December 26th, there's a holiday. I'm not talking about Boxing Day, I'm talking about Jizmas. See, on 4chan, someone special came every year, and it wasn't Santa. It was the cum bottle guy, aka the cum collector guy, aka Jizzus Christ, who with him brought a special kind of holiday cheer. It begins in 2007 with a post on B. 4 plastic bottles, 1 larger one and 3 smaller ones, all of them completely filled except for the 4th one, which was just getting started, containing what appears to be a yellowish beige fluid, presumably cum. A piece of paper had B written on it and the date 12/26/07. I wasn't able to find an archive of the original thread, perhaps because at this point nobody realized how important this would be. But at this point, this sort of behavior was relatively unprecedented. We're 5 years before the cum box. We're 7 years before the Pony Project. We're well before the point where any of the other cum artifacts would become infamous. It is a post that changes the course of history, changes the very nature of the world we live in. And December 26th would come around next year, and he would return with more bottles. And the next year, 3 bigger bottles. At this point, it's become established as a ritual. Forget about Boxing Day, now it's all about Jizzmas. Now that special time comes around on the 26th, and people are furiously refreshing B to see it as it comes. They're furiously refreshing B so as not to miss it. And like clockwork, he'd be there with even more jizz in his trademark filthy gray carpet. But of course, with anything like this, you have to ask, is it real or are we being bamboozled? Well, of course, there were the true believers, there's also doubters. 07, 08, 09, 10, 11. I also really doubt this is real. I can't say I'm much of an expert on the subject, but I'd imagine semen will either dry out or grow mold after a few months. Even if this guy is keeping it frozen or whatever. I'm an expert of bottled semen and this is real. It's so fake. I tried doing this, but it all just goes dark brown, then black after a few weeks. Why though? To prove it's fake? Because I was 18 at the time and full of cum. Something else though that people are noticing is the sediment at the bottom of the bottles. Throughout the years, some people theorized that the sediment was a yeast of some sort, maybe some kind of byproduct from some kind of brewing process, while others thought that was just what happens. Why does the last one have bubbles in it? Wish I could cum bubbles. No scientist, but I think it has something to do with decaying organic matter and fermentation. Does that mean it could turn to cum wine? Would you drink the cum wine? I feel like a lot of you would. In any case, say this is for real. How much would it take for someone to actually achieve this? Several people throughout the years have thought to try and mathematically solve the mystery of the cum bottles. Tracking the yearly estimated amounts versus the total in graphs with varying assumptions about when he actually started the project. You have one user who, based on the average ejaculate for a 24-year-old, the sizes of the bottles, and their growth, guessed that he would have to be nutting 1.33333 times a day to fill these bottles. This tradition would continue through the 7th coming of Jizzus in 2013. He noted that there wasn't too much more this year because he was getting laid, but in any case, the 7th coming was perhaps the one that spread it out the most throughout the entire internet, perhaps because of the catchy little name. But then in 2014, things would be a little different. Merry Jizmas, I have returned. As you can see, the oldest bottle has taken a turn for the worse. I opened it to fill these holy water bottles with a syringe. Fresh air must have fucked it all up. Anyway, I made an experimental noisy sound collage micro cassette that comes with a little holy water bottle of my cum from bottle number 1, limited to 6 copies. I have no idea how I'll get them in your hands, but anyway, they exist and are for you. Also, I don't know if I'll be able to keep going on this whole thing. My living situation intensifies in its complication. I'll do what I can though. It's unclear if anyone actually received these packages. I've seen posts claiming that they have, but no actual proof. And I haven't been able to find an upload of this music anywhere. There's other projects calling themselves Jizzus, but they don't seem to line up with what this is. But now that he said he's not sure if he can continue this, 2015 rolls around and things start to get a little interesting. Now you've got this will he, won't he question, and it's getting later and later in the day. And then, he comes. And he's got more cassettes. No wait, actually this is just last year's picture Photoshop. It's not him. So now the 27th is quickly approaching. You got people saying that it's over, and he said it might be over. While others are pointing out that last time he also posted later than usual. But at a certain point, people start to accept it. My first Jizzmas was very disappointing, but I will be looking forward to it next year. During my wait, I was in good company among friends. Perhaps that's what St. Jizzus wanted, us to come together for one day and wait for Jizz to come. I'm going to sleep now. Hopefully he doesn't come while I am sleeping, but I would be cool with that if he chose to come with my fellow friends. Anons. Thank you and Merry Jizmas. So Jizmas came and went and didn't happen. But then on the 31st, B gets a surprise visitor. I have returned B, but a lot has happened since the last time I posted. And he has a pair of small bottles, saying that this is all that remains of his collection after an incident with his now ex-girlfriend. Is your ex now your ex because she found your jizz bottles, or for some other reason? There were other tensions leading up to the breakup, but the discovery of my collection was the last straw. Of course, they also put him up to drinking it, and he obliges, with photo proof including shots of it inside of his mouth. And with that, he said it's time to start a new collection. But was this really him? I'm not convinced. That carpet is similar enough if you're going off of memory, but I've been staring at this for hours now. It's clearly a different carpet. But you know, maybe he moved out. Well, the handwriting also appears to be completely different. Observe how much more space this guy puts between his slashes and the letter B, and how the circle on Jizz's letter B points upward, while this guy's points downward. Additionally, this guy's 0 is open at the top, while Jizz's is completely circular. So no, I don't think this is Jizzus. I believe what we have here is a mystery comer, who drank it while pretending to be another guy. No, Jizzus would not be back this year. Perhaps the personal issues he spoke of got to be too much. Maybe it was that now we're in the post-cum artifact world and this just wasn't as special anymore. And 2016 would come and go with no Jizzmas, same for 2017. But then, on December 26th, 2018, 12:26, 23:45 EST, be there. This was a new picture, no Photoshop. After all these years, he had come back. But why? Hello, Anons. My name is of no concern. Many years ago, I posted images like the one you see as a little joke. It gathered some traction, so I posted similar images for the next few years. While the joke was initially funny, I think it's been going on for far too long now. What you have come to Jizzus is actually just some guy who brewed ginger beer at home and thought it looked like jizz. You're a phony! I figured it'd be obvious with the yeast sediment at the bottom, but very few people ever caught on. I no longer brew ginger beer. It was only a phase, so that's why I've not posted any images. So it was all fake. Some people caught on, but for the most part he had fooled people for a decade. And as evidence that this was ginger beer, he posted more batches of ginger beer that he had made. I know, granted, there's nothing he gives that's 100% proof that this is the same guy, but I mean, you look at those bottles, that is exactly what's going on here. In any case, later on in the thread, a person calling themselves Jizzeroni claims to be picking up the mantle. I'm here, starting a new bottle already. My first bottle was finished a few months ago. The sediments are legit and not yeast, although jizz does ferment. Really though, this just looks like more ginger beer. That all being said though, since the guy in 2015 was likely a different guy, maybe he really did drink cum. Also spotted in the archive thread. I'll see you all on Wang. Wang needs to talk about this on his YouTube channel. Is there any connection with the My Little Pony cum jar? It took me 5 years, but here we are. It almost feels fitting in a way that Jizzus, much like Santa, turned out not to be real. Of course, now that I've said that, don't show this video to any kids, because, you know, the reason why you wouldn't want kids to see this video is so they don't find out Santa's fake. Anyway, that's all for now. If you like this video, turn on notifications and check out my video about the guy who tried to grow human life in a jar. I'm out.